So good day, everyone, and welcome to today's class. And today's class, we are going to continue from where we stopped during the previous class, and which is what you can remember. We have what 6 sections of the syllabus. We have 6 sections of the syllabus. That is, this particular subject is divided into 6 sections, and the first section is what is nature of what of business, which is we are going to end today's class with. So, and what are the things that we are going to be talking about in nature of business? We are just trying to understand what are the different forms of business organization. We are going to is it the sole proprietorship? Is it the partnership? Is it the limited liability company? What make company to succeed? What make company to fail? So we'll also be looking about business environment. Business environment. It is very, very important that every stakeholders understand is business environment. There are sometimes organization can fail, organization can also succeed as well. So if organization fail, if organization succeed, your business environment have something to say about it. Your business environment have something to say about the success or the failures of business organization. So what make organization to what make organization to succeed, what make organization to fail? We are going to be talking about it in today's class. So please hold on, please. So during the previous class, we were able to look at let me just do a general recap of some of the things that we talked about in our last class. We talk about the meaning of business, and one of the key definition of key definition is that a business is a business is a social and a lawful human activities. The lawful is very, very important, meaning that for us to say that, this is a business, it has to be something that is acceptable in the society. Every business has to be lawful. It has to be things that the society as a whole, they consider it as the society accepted it. You can't just be doing business, let's say relating to woman trafficking now, relating to money laundering. Those are not business. Because for us to say something is a business, it has to be something that is accepted by the society. It has to be something that is lawful. Then we talk about objective of business organization. We say that their objective is their desire. What do they want to attain? And if you remember during the general overview class, I'll be able to talk about the desire. That is, we talk about mission statement. We talk about mission statement. And when we say mission statement is the reason for existence of that organization. Mission statement is the reason for existence of that organization in terms of why are you in business? What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? That is your mission statement. Your mission statement is the reason for existence of that organization. So what is now objective? Objective is their desired result. This is what we want to attain. Objectives are important because it indicates the purpose. It indicates the purpose. It indicates the aims. It provides direction. Then we also talk about what is the primary objective of business. Their primary objective is to make profit. Is to make profit, but they also have a secondary objective, which this business organization should always try as much as possible to also try to achieve this. It's not really about profit. Profit is the primary objective. So they also have a secondary objective. And what is their secondary objective? To ensure productivities. To ensure productivities, that is no stock out. Your product are if a customer is demanding for it, it is available. That is productivity. It's not as if you be giving excuse to your customer that, my product is not available by this time. Can you please come in the next time? No, a business organization should always try as much as possible to achieve this.
Innovation as well. Shareholder satisfaction. You have to certify your shareholder. And when we say shareholder are the provider of the fund. They are the one that is making the fund available to you. So you have to certify their own objectives. Pay them dividend as at when due. Employee satisfaction as well is also very, very important. Your employee, the people that are working for you, you have to meet their own demand as well. And you should try as much as possible to have a positive public image. That, it is not a company that, when you call their name, people will be thinking that, this is a bad company. They are not a good company. No, business organizations should always try as much as possible to have a good public image, a positive public image. So apart from your primary objective, which is to make profit, the secondary objective is also is also very important that business organizations should try as much as possible to achieve. Then we also talk about classification of business. We can classify business on 4 categories. Don't forget, we can categorize business based on everything that I'm doing now is a general recap of what we are supposed to talk about today. So what are the words? What are the classification of business? We can categorize we can classify business into 4. We have the size-based classification. We have the ownership type, which we are also going to talk about very soon. Is that the sole proprietorship? It can be partnership. It can be limited liability company. So we can also classify business based on their based on their output. We can also categorize business based on their based on their output. We can also classify business based on their based on their input as well. So these are the 4 These are the 4 way we can categorize a word. We can classify business in accordance with our in our syllabus. We can use we can use units. We can use their size. We can use the ownership type. We can use their input, and we can also use their output as well. These are the 4 classifications. Please don't forget, this is very important. How can you classify a business? A business can be classified. It can be grouped under Under 4. We have the size, we have the ownership, we have the input, and we also have the output as well. So if you are using the size-based classification, we have 2 indicators that we can use. We can use their total asset, and we can use the numbers of employees. We talked about this in the previous class as well. That is under size-based, we have the micro, we have the small, we have the medium, and we also have the large. So when we say this is a this is a micro organization, it means that a micro enterprise is a business with a value of is fixed asset, which in your ATS2 as non-current asset. Is not more, excluding land, is not more than 400,000. So please don't forget, in your exam, you have a short answer. So these are some of the things that you can expect. For us to say that this is a micro enterprise, it means that their fixed asset, their non-current asset, excluding land, is not more than 400,000. It's not more than It's not more than 400,000. But if it is a small one, the small one is their total asset, their fixed asset is between 400,000 and 5 million. For small one, their total fixed asset is between 400,000 and 5 million. While the medium one is between 5 million and 10 million. Medium is between 5 and 10. Medium is between 5 and 10. And while the large one is above 10 million. So this is one of the bases that you can use to categorize business in terms of you are looking at it in terms of the value of their non-current asset. Under the size-based classification. In the size-based classification as well, we also have another one, which is using how many employees do you have? How many employees do you have? So a micro enterprise have between 1 to 10. 1 to 10, please don't forget. The small scales is between 11 to 100. The medium one is between 101 to 300, and the large one is on 301 and above. So please don't forget, a micro enterprise is between what 1 to 10 in terms of their employee. In terms of their what their asset is what it is now more than 400,000. The small one is between 11 to what 200 in terms of what the numbers of employee, but in terms of the value of their asset is between what 400 and 5 million. What about the medium? In terms of what employee, it is between what 101 and 300. It is between what 101 and 300. In terms of what their asset is between what 5 and what and 10 million. While the large one is what is 301 and above. And in terms of their asset, it is above what above 10 million. We can also have what we call use-based classification. We'll talk about this as well. Under the use-based classification, we talk about, when we say use-based classification, is that business can be grouped into what? It's in terms of when we say use-based classification, emphasizes on the nature of their output and what are they using their output for. That is what the use-based classification. The use-based classification is looking at what is the nature of your output. What is the nature of your output? What are they using your output for? So we have the basic industry, we have the capital goods industry, and we also have the intermediary, and we also have the consumer as well. So when we say the basic industry are those which provide the basic inputs or raw material for development of other industry. Like what fertilizer now is is output of what? Is output of certain industry. Is now going to be what? Input of another industry. Just like the agriculture. So the farmers now, fertilizer is is input to them. But there's one industry now that produces that. So the basic industry are those which provide the basic inputs or raw material for development of other industry. The capital goods industry are those industries that produce plants, machinery, equipment, and tools which are required for manufacturing of other goods and services. That is the capital goods industry. Are those industries that produce plant and machinery, equipment, tools which are required for manufacturing of other goods and services. We talk about intermediaries as well. We talk about the consumer. So we also talk about growth. That is also another section. We talk about growth, and we say that we have two types of growth. Please, this is just a recap of what we talked about in the last class. We talk about growth. Every organization must think of growth. Growth is a very important thing. Even as individual as well, you have to be thinking of growth. You are in HS3 now. Later in the long run now, you move to to skills. Then you move to professional, and then you become a chartered accountant. So there has to be there has to be growth. Business has to be thinking of growth. Individual as well, we also need to be thinking of growth. So we have two types of growth. We say we have organic, and we also have what we call inorganic. Organic growth can also be called internal growth. Organic growth can also be called internal. Can also be called internal growth. Why inorganic is what we call external growth. We have two types of growth. We have what we call organic growth, and we also have inorganic growth. Organic growth is also known as internal growth, while inorganic is also known as external growth. We have the need for growth. Why do we need growth? Talk about this. For economic of scales, for personal ambition, for market power, reduction in risk of failure, to increase the status of the firm, to avoid takeover, to attract resources. These are some of the things, these are some of the need why we need growth. For economic of scales, for personal ambition, we need growth. For market power, so that if we make mention of our name in the market, everybody is aware. So that if we're able to have more market power, then we're able to compete effectively. There's going to be, we need growth so that there's going to be a reduction in risks of failure. A company that has that's able to have more growth, then there's a high probability that your going concern status will still continue to be maintained. To avoid takeover, so that what another company will not just take over you or merge with you, to attract resources. Managing growth, as you are thinking of words of growth, you also need to thinking of how can you manage growth? Because if a company you're not able to manage your growth very well, then that can lead to another problem. So as you are trying to achieve this, you also need to try as much as possible to able to manage it. You also need to try, as you are achieving your growth, management of this growth is also very, very important. So we need to manage our growth. To control a business as it's growing, a firm may need some of these things. That is, you need to control your growth. You need to manage it. So how can you manage your growth? These are some of the ways you can manage your growth. You have to have planning. You have to plan. You have to have budget. You have to have a good organization structure, which we are still going to talk about. How can you manage your growth? You have to have planning. Planning is a very important thing. You also need to have budget. You have to have a good organization structure, a performance appraisal system, a performance appraiser that will show, oh, what is the actual, what is the budgeted, so that if there's any variance, then we're able to look at, oh, where is this variance coming from? And is the variance favorable or is it unfavorable? So it is performance appraiser that will show you that. Improve your internal communication is a way of you managing your growth. A job description is a way of you managing your growth. So we talk about this in the previous class as well. How can you manage growth? How can you manage growth? You have to have planning. You have to plan. You have to have a budget. A good organization structure is very important. A performance appraisal system, a good internal communication, which you talk about in your business communication at ETS1. The problem of growth. These are some of the problems that a business organization is going to encounter if you did not manage your growth very well. If you did not manage your growth very well, these are some of the problems. These are some of the problems. Cash flow problem. In terms of what you are not getting, the available money is not going to be there. Diseconomy of skills. Problem of delegation. Risks of losses of direction and control. Another one is what the inadequate work personnel. That's number 5. Inadequate what? Inadequate personnel. So if your growth is not properly managed, these are some of the problems. If you did not able to manage your growth, these are some of the ways you can use to manage your growth. So if your growth is not properly managed, this is the end product result. It can lead to cash flow problem, diseconomy of skills, problem of delegation, risks of losses of direction and control, inadequate personnel. At least as you are thinking of growth, you have to be thinking of what? Having a good numbers of employee. Oh, you are opening another branch in this location. You are thinking of going to another location. You are thinking of going to another location. That as you are thinking of establishing a new branch, then you have to be thinking of what? Employing people as well. So you are growing and you are not you are not employing more people to carry out your business. So you can see now there's a problem. So if your growth is not properly being managed, a business will go out of business. The business will go out of business. So another question that we now need to ask ourselves is that which we make mention of in the last class, is why did business fail? Why did business fail? Why did business fail? So in management, there are some things that you can provide answer to. There are some things that you can provide answer to. The only thing that you need to try as much as possible to do is understand the terms. I say, why did business fail? If I ask every one of us listen to me now, you should be able to provide answer to this. You should be able to say something that, oh, based on my own words, based on my own knowledge, these are some of the things that I consider that make business organization to fail. These are some of the reasons, these are some of the things I consider that make business organization to fail. Why did business fail? Business fail as a result of some of these reasons. Have a look at this. Business fail as a result of what? Some of these. These are some of the reasons why business fail. A bad idea to begin with. If you don't have a good idea when you are starting this business, it may eventually fail. If you don't have a good idea, you don't do a careful business analysis, you don't understand the market that you are going to, you don't understand the environment that you are going to. Oh, you just see a certain money now, or someone dash you a certain money of let's say 1 million now, and the thing is, just let me start this business without you carefully analyzing it. Eventually, if you are not careful, the business will fail. Poor planning. Lack of capital, the money is not there. Not knowing the market. You have to understand the market that you are. You have to understand the consumer. You have to understand the customer in that particular market. How did the consumer, how do they react? So not knowing the market is a problem. Cash flow crisis. Cash flow crisis was management. Cash flow crisis was management. The money is not there. The money is not there. Cash flow statement. If you remember in your HS2, you talk about what cash flow statement, IS7. Cash flow statement deal with what? The cash inflow and the what? And the cash outflow. And cash flow statement is divided into how many segments? It's divided into 3 segments. We have the cash flow from operating activities. We have the cash flow from what? From investing activities. And we also have the cash flow from what? From financing activities. So we don't expect a business organization to have a negative cash flow from operating activities. We expect your cash flow from operating activities to be positive. So if you are not having a business now that is having a negative cash flow from operating activities, it means that there's a problem. If this is not being properly managed, it can eventually lead to to business failure. Doing it all. There are some things that you don't need to do. There are some things that you have to delegate. It's not everything that you need to do. It's not everything that you need to do. There are some things that you just need to delegate it. There's something that you just need to do or delegate it. Let other people do it for you. It is not everything that you need to do. Inadequate control. Inadequate protection of your assets. Inadequate protection of your asset. If you don't protect your asset very well, it can lead to a business failure. Don't worry, in your HS3 as well, you also be talking about you'll be talking about internal control in your audits. You'll be talking about the internal control. And one of the reasons why we need to have internal control is as a result of what? So that we're able to protect the asset of the company. We're able to secure idleness to management policy. We're able to safeguard the asset of the company. So if you are not safeguarding your asset, then there's a problem. So inadequate protection of your asset, there's no good internal control. Eventually, the business can fail. Growing too fast as well is a problem. The illusion of starting out as what? As a big company. I want to start as a big company. No, you don't need to start as a big company. You can start as a small, then you'll be growing. So we talk about some of these concepts in the last class as well. These are the reasons why business fail. And I also have another one. This one is in our park. That is 11 points. If you check your study text as well, everything that we're talking about is in accordance with our syllabus. So I see some of this thing online then and I attach it. 36 reasons why a small business fail. These are some of the reasons why small business fail. You can have a look at it. So what are we talking about? Everything I'm talking about is about what? It's about what we make mention of in the last class. Then we talk about what everybody also know this as well, at least. Right from your ATS1, you could have been hearing about what? Different forms of business organization. This is in your basic accounting at what? At ATS1. Different forms of what? Of business organization. We have the sole proprietorship. What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages of sole proprietorship? You know that the sole proprietorship is a one-man business. Is a one-man business. We talk about partnership as well. This is also very, very important. A partnership business is a business that exists when two or more individuals come together to form a business. For us to be talking about what partnership, then we have to have how many people? 2 individuals, more than 2. A minimum of 2 or more. Me and you now, we can form a partnership. But if it is only me that form a business organization, that is a sole proprietorship. What are the features of sole proprietorship? What are the features of partnership? We'll make mention of this as well. We'll talk about types of partner. General partner, and we also have limited partner. So in a partnership business, we usually have a document called deal of partnership or partnership deal. That is, partnership exists from minimum of 2 individuals. So when we are forming a partnership, we also need to do what? We also need to have an agreement. We also need to have an agreement the agreement that will spell out some certain things. So we need to have an agreement that there should be a document that will indicate that, oh, me and you, we are forming a business. So that's what we call partnership deal, or sometimes we call it deal of partnership. So what are some of the content of deal of partnership? What are the content of partnership deal? A partnership deal or a partnership agreement would describe the partners. In terms of in the partnership deal, you are going to see the name of the partner will be there. Each of these partners, their responsibility will be there as well. Their initial investment as well will be there. That, oh, you need to contribute 10,000. I need to contribute 8,000. This individual needs to contribute 5,000. This individual needs to contribute 2,000. So the initial investment, the initial capital that each of these partners are bringing, who is going to be in this partnership. The salary, if any, if you have to pay salary to any of the partner, it will be specified in this document as well. The proportion of the award of our profit sharing ratio as well. Our profit sharing ratio that, oh, this particular award, this particular partner is expected to what you are going to take 3. This one will take 2. This one will take 5. At least you know partnership account in your what in your ATS2. It's a very, very important topic. But here, what we are talking about here is not the preparation partnership account. We are not doing anything of what of current account. We are not doing anything of what appropriation account. No, what we are just talking about is just the theoretical aspect of it, not the computation. The computational aspect, you have done it in what in ATS2. So the description of the business in terms of what is the business name? Is it going to be Inyada Limited and what Inyada and Co Limited? Where is the location? Where is it going to be in Bayelsa? Is it going to be in what in Cross River, or going to be in Akwa Ibom? So what is the location of the business? And the type of the business is also very, very important. What is the type? What are we selling? Which service are we rendering? So the type of the business is also need to be specified in this agreement. The description of the business practice, the fiscal year and the accounting system, and the amount of fund that can be withdrawn within a given period. Within the given period. The description of the business practice. Provision of changes in the partnership. That is provision, that is this as well can also be incorporated in the partnership deal. Duration of the partnership, is it for 2 years? Is it for 3 years? Renewal of partnership. Admission of new partner. The treatment of words, partnership upon withdrawal or death of a word of a partner. And you can remember some of this computation aspect of this line 4 now. Provision of changes in partnership. Duration of the partnership. Renewal of partnership. Admission of new partner. You can remember in your HS2, when there's an admission of word of new partner, sometimes we usually conduct a revaluation. That is when you prepare a revaluation. The circumstances whereby you prepare a revaluation account in partnership is when there's an admission of new partner, when there's a death or withdrawal of a partner, when there's a changes in their profit sharing ratio, then revaluation account need to be what? Need to be prepared. So all the computation aspect of some of these things, you know it already. The signature of the partner as well will be there. That is, the partner needs to sign this particular document off. I'm very sure this is not the first time that every one of us you're hearing the word partnership deal. It is in ATS1. It is in what? It is in ATS2 as well. It is also here. So throughout your ATS journey now, you have been talking about what? A partnership, sole proprietorship, limited liability company. Partnership is in ATS1. It is in what? Sole proprietorship 2 is there. Limited liability company is there too. Your ATS what? In your ATS2, you talk about more intensive on what? On partnership accounts. So, and each of them, we talk about partnership deal. So what is the advantage? What is the disadvantage as well? How can we dissolve a partnership? Dissolution of partnership. These are the various reasons. These are the way a partnership can be dissolved. These are the different ways in which partnership can be what? Can be dissolved. Court order. You can remember in your business law. This is there. How can the partnership business be dissolved? A partnership business can be dissolved through what? Court order. Technical what? Insolvency. That is, maybe the partnership does not have the ability to continue the business. That is the technical insolvency that we are talking about. That, oh, they did not have the words, they did not have the required skills to continue the business. Mutual agreements. we can come together and say, what? Let's close this business. Completion of the assignment or the task for which the partnership was established. Yeah. Once we have completed the task, then everybody can go. The objective of forming this partnership is to achieve this. And once that has been achieved, then the business can work, the business can come to an end. The business can work, can come to an end. The death of a partner, you can remember, a death of a partner can also bring about what? Can also bring about dissolution. Can also bring about dissolution of a partnership business. So these are the words, these are the circumstances in which a partnership business can be dissolved. Court order, technical insolvency, mutual agreement, completion of the task, death of a partner. These are reasons, these are circumstances in which a partnership business can be dissolved. Court order, technical insolvency, mutual interest, completion of the assignment or the task, and death of a partner. We also talk about LTD as well, limited liability company. Limited liability company. Limited liability company, you can remember your business law. You have limited liability company. So one of the important things I'm going to talk about, it has to do with documents. It has to do with a document in which every LTD must have. Just like in a partnership business, we talk about partnership deal or deal of partners. And this particular partnership deal, it will show, these are some of the content that we talk about. It will show the description, to show the nature of the business, it will show the provision, how are we going to share the profit sharing ratio, the initial capital, the interest on drawing, the percentage, the interest on capital, if we are going to pay salary to any of the partners. So in a limited liability company as well, we also have a document. We have one of the two most important documents. We have what we call articles of association, and we also have what we call memorandum of association. We have articles of association and memorandum of association. This particular part is also in the business law. So far, so good now. I don't think there's not most of the things that I'm talking about now is something that every one of us, we are all aware of this. Articles of association. And when we say articles of association is a document that contain the rules and regulations. The rules and regulation guiding the company. It's a document that contains the internal rules and regulation. Don't forget, articles of association is an internal document. Why memorandum of association is like external documents. Articles of association showed the rules and regulations guiding the company. But memorandum of association is a document that shows the relationship, between the company and the outside world. Memorandum of association is a document that shows the relationship between the company and the outside world. But articles of association is a document that shows the internal rules and regulations. Then the next thing we need to be asking ourselves, once we know this, that articles of association is an internal document. Memorandum of association is an external document. So what are now the content of articles of association? What are now the content of memorandum of association. Articles of association. Articles of association show the following. Appointment and termination of what? Of director. Articles of association is going to tell us what are the process that you need to follow when we are appointing, and what are the procedure when we are also terminating what? We are also terminating director what? Employment. Appointment and termination of what? Of director employment. This document will tell us the process that we need to follow. The procedure for issuing and transfer of shares. Before we issue a shares now, what are the procedure? What are the procedure that you need to follow when you want to transfer shares from one individual to another individual, from one company to another company? In your ATS2, you could have talked about what? You could have talked about issue of shares, where we have the word, we can have first call, we can have second call, we can even have third call, we can have what? Application account, we can have what? Allotment account, ordinary share account, and the rest like that. So, what are the procedure that we need to follow when we are issuing shares? Articles of association will also tell us the process. The right and responsibility of the shareholder. The right and responsibility of the shareholder. What are the rights of of shareholders? It is the shareholder's right to attend AGM. AGM is what? Annual general meeting. It is the shareholders' right to receive the notification that, our AGM will be coming up on this also date, at this also venue, at this also time. It is the right of the shareholder to receive such notification. The shareholder also have the right to attend the AGM. The shareholder also have the right to attend the AGM. It is also the right of the shareholder to receive copy of your annual report. Copies of the company's annual report. What are the procedure for auditing and accounting? What are the procedure that we must follow for us to appoint auditor? I know you could have been talking about it in your auditing class now. What are the duties and responsibility of the auditor? Who have the power to appoint auditor? So articles of association will also show us all those processes. And it is the shareholder that have the power to appoint auditor. It is the shareholder that have the power to appoint auditor. Removal of auditor as well is also it is also the shareholder that have the power to remove the auditor, not the director. So what is our accounting system? Articles of association will also specify those procedures. Don't forget, articles of association is a document that shows the rules and regulations guiding the company, that shows the rules and regulation of the company. And to give answer to some of these questions. How do we appoint? How do we terminate? What are the procedures that we can use to issue our shares? What are the procedures that you need to take if you want to do transfers of your shares? What are the rights and responsibility of the shareholders? What are the rights and responsibility of the director as well? What are the procedure for auditing and accounting? So the next most important document now is what is Memorandum of Association. Memorandum of what? Of Association. What are the things that what Memorandum of Association will give answer to? What are the content of what of Memorandum of Association? Memorandum of Association will contain some of this. Whether the company is going to be what, whether it's going to end with what, PLC or is LTD. Memorandum of Association will show that. Memorandum of Association, what? Memorandum of Association will show that. That, oh, this company is a what? Is a PLC. And PLC means what? Public Limited Liability Company. This company is what? Is LTD, Limited Liability Company. So Memorandum of Association what will talk about that. Another thing that what Memorandum of Association will also what, that at least the content of Memorandum of Association is what? Your address, the location of the business. Oh, my business is the location of your business will be what? It will be there in Memorandum of Association. That, oh, my words, my business location is what? Is established at what? Number 30. This also street, this particular country, this particular state. The type of business, what are you doing? Which product are you selling? Which service are you rendering? Your Memorandum of Association will also talk about that. A statement indicating that the liability of his what? Corporate member is limited. That it is only limited to the amount of capital that you have contributed in terms of what? Is only limited to the amount of what? The amount that you pay for you to acquire the shares. So in case of any other liability, your liability is only limited to the amount that you contribute. If the business collapses or the business is having any liability that is not able to what to settle, you don't need to sell your private property to offset the business. So there's a separate entity, which you can remember in our accounting, we talk about what? Entity concept. We talk about what? Entity concept. And what entity concept is saying that what? The owner of the business is different from the business. The owner of the business is different from the world, is different from the business. Taiwo Limited is different from Taiwo. James Limited is different from what? From James. So there's going Memorandum of Association is going to contain a statement that the liability of his member is only limited. So the amount of what? To the amount that you have used to pay for the shares, the amount that you have contributed. So in case there's a liability in the future, let's say, for example, you buy 10 units of shares. You buy 10 units of shares, and the 10 units of shares cost you what? 100,000. In case that there's a liability in the what? In case there's a liability in the future, you can only lose the value, which is the 100,000 for the 10 units of shares that you acquire. You don't need to sell your private property for it. The numbers of shares into which the company share capital is what is divided. We have the words, the authorized share capital. We have the call-up share capital. So the numbers of shares into which the company share capital is what is divided. Memorandum of Association will also give rise to will also contain some of this. Don't forget, these are very, very important documents that every company needs to have. Articles of Association. Articles of Association is a document which shows what the rules and regulations guiding the conduct of the business. Memorandum of Association is a document laying down the guidelines of the company and its member. That is a document that shows the relationship between the company and the outsider. Memorandum of Association is a document that shows the relationship between the company and the and the outsider. What are some of the content of Memorandum of Association? The name of the company, either with a PLC or with LTD. your address, your location, the type of your business, a statement indicating about your liability, the numbers of shares. And we also have another document, which is what we call what certificate of incorporation. So once you register your company, the CAC, the Corporate Affairs Commission, will give you what? Will give you this particular what document called what? Certificate of what? Of incorporation. So this particular what document is given by the what? By the Corporate Affairs what Commission. Okay. So we also have what? Cooperative what? We also have cooperative society as well. So those are the words, those are the different forms of words of business words, organization, cooperative words, society. And what are the characteristics of cooperative society? Or we say what? Cooperative society, this is a form of business setup distinct from his word owner and is usually regarded as a word as a legal person. There's a continuity of the business irrespective of the word, the individual death or withdrawal. In this arrangement, can individual buy shares in a similar fashion as what is obtained in a corporation? In taking the decision, each member has only one word vote. In the case of business, surplus earning are shared in form of what dividend, which is aimed on the word on the volumes of what members were purchased. Like what in a cooperative society, every one of us now we can contribute a certain amount of money. Like, oh, let's use it to do this particular business. So, and every business motive, the primary objective is to make profit. So at the end of the day, if you have a profit, it will be distributed among the member. It will be distributed among the member. So what are the characteristics of cooperative organization? It is voluntary, it's not a must. You can have maybe in your church now or in the mosque, we can have a cooperative society, maybe for the youth or for other members as well. So maybe at the end of the service, they are going to have their own they are going to have their own meeting. Or maybe in your words, maybe in school as well, you can also belong to a certain society that this is what you are trying to achieve. So these are some of the characteristics. It's voluntary. You can decide to join, you can decide not to join. Equal voting right by member, that is one member, one vote. You can vote twice. So every member have equal rights. A separate legal entity, just like a limited liability company as well. Mr. James is different from James Limited. Based on service motive was the word of his member, and cooperative society sometimes is not usually formed to make profit, but to help the members, to help members that okay, may in need of this particular thing, then other members will contribute a certain amount for you, then you can use it to do and you return the money back. The types of cooperative, we can have the agricultural marketing cooperative society. They are usually found in purchasing and marketing area. The purchasing cooperative usually purchase product and sell to member, and sell to his member and non-member. Like that is when we agriculture in terms of buying agricultural product and selling into to your member. That is from the word agriculture. That is the product that they are buying are they are agricultural products, and you can decide to sell it to your world. Majorly, you are going to satisfy the need of your member first before you can be thinking of selling to other member. Credit and banking cooperative society. In this setup, member organize a credit and banking cooperative to issue a loan to member and the general public at affordable interest rates. Cooperative banking spring up in most part of the country. So there are some times that you can belong to a cooperative society in form of credit and banking. that they can give a loan to you, then you'll be paying it back small. Consumer as well. This type is usually established by a group of consumers. Products are bought at at wholesale price so that it eliminates excessive profit by the middleman. If you remember, we have what we call channels of distribution. Some channels of distribution can be like 3. You can have some wholesaler, you have to work to retailer before you to get to the final consumer. So, but in this consumer cooperative society now, they are eliminating the middleman, which is the retailer. So you are buying directly from the wholesaler. You are buying directly from the wholesaler. Because if you are buying from the retailer now, the retailer is buying from the wholesaler is buying from the manufacturer, from the producer. So from the producer, it will go to the wholesaler, it will go to the retailer, it will go to the final consumer. But this consumer cooperative now, they try to eliminate the middleman. They try to eliminate the retailer by buying directly from the wholesaler. By doing so, products are sold more cheaply to its member and the general public. And that is the main purpose of consumer cooperative society, is to eliminate retailer, because before a retailer will sell to you, retailer could have had his own margin to it as well. Advantage, tax advantage by their nature. Democratic in practice, in terms of deal with voting, and it is one vote. Training, the members are trained on various aspects of managing the cooperative society. Pooling of resources. Limited liability, in terms of your liability is also limited by the amount that you have agreed to contribute. Economic corporate operation. The operation is quietly economical due to elimination of middlemen and voluntary service provided by its member. Economic operation, in terms of managing your resources. Look at the consumer cooperative society that is trying to eliminate the retailer. Look at the credit and the banking that is trying to let's pool resources together. Let's give interest to other member at a low interest rate. It's not free of interest. You are still going to pay interest charge, but it is very, very low compared to what others may be charging. What is the advantage? There's a lack of freedom, reduced finance, there's honest, there's low salary, there's rigid rules and regulation. That is the disadvantage. Disadvantage is lack of freedom. Members are not free to sell their products in the market of their choice. Because if you belong to a certain world, either the agriculture or the consumer now, there's already a market that you need to sell the product to. There's already a market that you need to sell the product to. So there's no freedom from the member to go to any market for you to sell your products. Reduce finance. When some members are not forthcoming in their financial contribution, this reduces the pool of funds available. For example, now in a cooperative society, every member will agree that, I'm going to contribute 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. So if some member fail to contribute now, that will affect the amount you're going to give towards your member in need of that particular finance. So reduced finance is coming in terms of if a certain member fail to pay. Dishonest, which is another disadvantage. Because of insincerity of some of the executive and staff who conclude to enrich themselves, many cooperative society may have not strived very well. Because if you see some dishonest member, that would be a big problem. Because in a cooperative society, everybody have their own different mindsets. It's only going to be successful if people of good integrity come together. Low salary is another disadvantage of cooperative society. There's a tendency to pay staff lower salary than prevailing wage rate in the economy. These account for poor calibers of manager and staff they employ. Because you can see that what cooperative society finance is a little bit low. So the salary that they are going to pay to their workers most times is also going to be low. And if you are paying if you decide to be paying low salary to your member, that means that you are only doing you are only trying to employ people of skills or semi-skills. Because for a skills labor, they will demand more salary due to their professional qualification, due to the training that they have. So rigid rules and regulation, excessive government regulation and control affect the effective functioning of the cooperative or society. In terms of every activities government is involved. So if the government regulation is not also favorable, that can also serve as a disadvantage to the cooperative society. So lack of freedom, reduced finance, dishonest, low salary, rigid rules and regulation is a disadvantage of this. So recap, we're able to talk about we're able to talk about different forms of business organization. So another area which we are here to talk about in the previous class is to talk about internal and external stakeholders. Is to talk about internal and external external stakeholders. Internal and external stakeholders. So what do we, in the first place, we need to look at what do we refer to as a stakeholders? Before we start talking about different types of stakeholders. And you can see from this particular diagram that you're looking at, we have internal stakeholders and we also have external stakeholders. So your customer is stakeholders, your suppliers are stakeholders, the community is the stakeholders, the society is also the stakeholder, your employees, family is the stakeholders, the government is the stakeholders, the owner of the business is the stakeholders, your lender, your provider of finance is the stakeholders, your employee as well is also a stakeholder. So we have these are different types of stakeholders. So what is stakeholders? Stakeholders means any individual or a group of individual who have a strong interest in the organization and what it does or what it's trying to achieve. So when we say stakeholders are those that have interest in what the organization is doing. Stakeholders are those that have interest in what the organization is doing. And sometimes we usually say a stakeholders is any individual or a group of individuals who will be affected by any decision that the organization take or any actions. Be affected, that is, a stakeholder is any individual which, if this individual takes any action, if it is going to affect the company, or if the company take any decision or the company take any action, if it is going to affect me, that means I'm a stakeholder. So if I also take a certain action or a certain decision, if it is going to affect this company, that means I'm a stakeholder. So a stakeholder can be affected or be affected. The action or the decision that the company take can affect you. The action that you as well, if you take, can also affect the organization. That means that you are a stakeholders. So basically, stakeholders can be divided into two. We have internal stakeholders, and we also have external stakeholders. Basically, stakeholders can be divided into two. We have internal stakeholders, and we also have what we call external stakeholders. Internal stakeholders of a company are inside the company, and they are part of it. That is, those stakeholders that are within the organization. For example, your shareholder is an internal stakeholders, director and top management, senior management staff, other managers and staff. They are internal stakeholders. Internal stakeholders are what? Internal stakeholders of a company are inside they are inside the company. They include some of this. What about external stakeholder? From the word external, meaning that they are outside, they are not within the organization. External stakeholders are individuals or groups who do not work for the company, but who nevertheless have key interest in what the company does, and who might be able to influence the way in which the company is governed. They include the lenders, the supplier, the regulator, the government, the general public, a special interest group, or the company's auditor. So when we say external stakeholders are individual or groups who do not work for the company, but nevertheless they have some interest in what the organization is trying to achieve. So don't forget, what is stakeholders? Stakeholders are those that have interest. And sometimes we also define stakeholders as those that have interest. That stakeholders can be defined as any individual who can be affected or be affected by any decision or action of that organization. Meaning that a stakeholder is anybody that can affect the organization. That is, their decision, their action affect the organization. The decision or the action that the organization takes, if it also affects you, that means that you are a stakeholder. Expectation of what? Expectation of stakeholders. Expectation of what? Expectation of stakeholders. Meaning that what does your stakeholders expect? And the different stakeholders have different interests. Different stakeholders have different interests. What the employee is looking for is different from what the shareholder is looking for. It's different from what the government is also looking for. It's different from what the community, what the supplier. The interest of the expectation of the customer is different from the expectation of the customer, different from the expectation of the supplier. The expectation of customer is different from the expectation of supplier. The expectation of shareholder is different from the expectation of the government. It's different from the expectation of the employee. So each of these each of the stakeholders have different interests. So these stakeholders or stakeholders group have different expectations from the company. They expect to benefit from the association with the company, and the expected benefit are different. For example, shareholder expectation may share price growth is what 5 naira today. A shareholder expected that, oh, maybe tomorrow it should be what? It should be 10 naira, it should be 15 naira, growing. Stable dividend and good return on investment. Why the director and senior manager might place emphasis on personal advancement, such as what their remuneration should be high, their status, the power to make key strategic decisions for the companies. So you can see now that employee will expect what a stable employment, high salary. So you can see that government will expect that, high tax, you should pay high tax. The community will expect you that, you should do some CSR. So each of the stakeholders have what? Different demand. The effect of what? Of stakeholders' expectation. Those stakeholders group have different rights and duty, and they also have different expectation of what the company should provide for them. The effect of those the effect of those differences in expectation is regular stakeholders conflict. That is, everybody have different needs. So, and that's what we call stakeholders conflicts. Stakeholders conflict arise as a result of arise as a result of different demand, different expectation. Okay. So this is the end of the word. This is the end of the first aspect of the first aspect of business words, the first aspect of the nature of the business, which is the syllabus section syllabus section A. Syllabus section A. Please hold on.